It tells us about the picture about climate change and how it will be in detail in the next few months up to the next 2 years. And what the report is saying is that the globally average temperature in the next year or two is likely to be at record levels, or at least very close to record levels. There's only a couple of things that could happen to stop these record-breaking temperatures from happening. The first of those is if the El Nino forecasts for the next few months are wildly inaccurate, which is possible but not very likely. And the second thing that could happen is if there's a large volcanic eruption in the next few months. Volcanic eruptions put ash into the atmosphere, which blocks the sunlight and blocks the sun's warming effect. And those eruptions are, of course, completely unpredictable. So in summary, we think it looks likely, not 100% certain by any stretch of the imagination, but likely that new temperature records will be set in 2015 or 2016.
And that might therefore suggest that globally 2014, 2015 and 2016 could be among the very warmest years ever.
Yes, that's right. We're seeing the temperature with a general upward trend. I mean, it's important to remember that climate and temperatures are an amalgamation of many different factors in the climate system. Of course, there's the long-term warming trend that's being driven by our greenhouse gas emissions, but so superimposed on top of that trend, there's also natural variability, and that's associated with more regional phenomena, not global, but regional phenomena like El Nino events in the Pacific Ocean.
You talk about the El Nino effect. Could you just expound on that a little bit and explain it in the context of what's happening now?
We have this natural variability that at times is adding to the global warming over certain periods and at other times is subtracting from it. So when we have a temperature record, it usually comes partly from long-term anthropogenic climate change, but also partly from these natural cycles that all can line up with each other in conjunction, if you like, in their positive phases. So the climate's a very complicated system with lots of things going on simultaneously, sometimes cancelling each other out, but it's sometimes reinforcing each other. And in particular, you've mentioned El Nino. We know now from satellite observations and other observations that El Nino, which is a large-scale warming of the tropical Pacific Ocean, El Nino is currently well underway. And this could have consequences, knock-on consequences, not just localized to the Pacific sector, but throughout the world.
Now, the current El Nino event that you referred to there, some have said could increase the drought risk in places like South Africa, East Asia, and the Philippines. And the other consequence might be good news for the people in California who've been battling a drought for the last 4 years. Is it possible that they might finally see some rain?
Yes, that's right. You've mentioned things like drought in places like South Africa, Indonesia, Australia. El Nino also has an impact on the monsoons, the Indian and the West African monsoons, and even has a weak effect on European climate. And you've mentioned there the Californian drought as well. There's now a real chance in the next few months, next 6 months, say, that the Californian drought could be broken, which would be very welcome news for the Californians, less welcome in other parts of the world, I imagine.